What's happening, everyone? Welcome to GBall Vision. I hope you are doing fantastic today. In this video, we are going to be talking about some of my all-time favorite Spydercos and my all-time favorite Spyderco and why it is my all-time favorite. So we have a couple to go over here quickly, and then we're going to bring out my all-time favorite. So we have the Spyderco Para 3, a great knife. This one is coming in CPM crew wear, a Knife Center exclusive. This is the ultimate secondary carry, in my opinion. You have a coated blade, smooth G10 handles. On this guy, I threw a Lynch Northwest deep carry clip. That is the micarta titanium clip. Looks awesome, gives it a little bit of contrast. Then we have one of my favorite regular paramilitary 2s. This is the Knife Joy exclusive in 20 CV with that coated blade. You have the green G10, nice fuzzy, furry type G10. Then we have the Spyderco Indela, and this bad boy is in K390, the Warncliffe edition, an absolute slicing machine. Love this thing. If you need to slice 1,000 feet of cardboard, this is your guy. Absolutely a dream slicer. Very ergonomic, very comfortable, nice place to rest your thumb, or if you really need to bear down, that nice fine jimping will give you a lot of control. Then we have the Blade HQ exclusive Spyderco Smock with the satin M4 blade. We have the Raylight Tetris titanium scales. That's what I call them anyway. We have an MXG stone-washed deep carry clip there, titanium deep carry clip. Love the smock. Then we have the DLT exclusive Manix 2 and M390 with the brown G10 satin blade. And then we have a Lynch Northwest deep carry fall Mascus titanium clip. Love this knife too. I just hate the plastic tabs, which I'm probably going to be ordering some different stuff for this knife so I can start to learn to love it again. It's broken in extremely well. There's no aftermarket parts in this guy at all, and it is extremely smooth. I just cannot stand these plastic tabs. I wish it came with aluminum or something, especially these exclusive versions. There's something about them tabs that I hate. So let's bring out the big boy, my favorite, my all-time favorite. And it's a recent acquisition. It was a gift from a fellow brethren, a fellow member of the channel, a subscriber, of course, faithful viewer, someone who's been with me for a long time, gifted me a Spyderco Shaman. My first one ever, the completely murdered out edition. He picked this out, bought it, sent it to me, and I had no idea. And I've never handled one before. I always thought that I would love the Shaman. I didn't know where it would rank amongst my favorite Spydercos. I didn't know if I would for sure like it at all. I thought that I would because I knew it was a little bit of a bigger knife, has that nice taller blade, little bit thicker blade stock, nice comfortable, wider, thicker G10 handles. It's an absolute ergonomic dream in the hand, no matter which position you are, choked up or in the rear position. The index is just perfect on this knife. It has broken in exceptionally well. I have done nothing to this. I have not taken it apart. I haven't even dropped oil in it. It is just smooth as butter now. I've only had this maybe a week at this point, but I've not been able to put it down. And I have done a lot of cutting here at home with this guy. And over the course of the last week or so, I started to give it quite a bit of thought. You know, and I've always liked Spydercos. Ever since I started collecting knives, Spyderco was one of my first purchases that I ever made. I bought a Maximate Pair of 3, which I recently just sold. And after that, it was all downhill. I had a ton of Spydercos before I knew it. I had 3 and 4 of some knives, 2 and 3 of others. I just went a little insane with it, right? I've been trying to whittle down the Spyderco collection to my absolute favorite knives. Now, I do have some other ones that are not being pictured here, and they're not pictured because they're not part of my all-time favorites. So, I figured we would go over my 5 favorites, right? So, we have the Para 3, the Paramilitary 2, the Smock, the Mannix 2, and the Shaman. These are my 5 favorite knives. Now, in not necessarily a particular order, because 1 through 5 would be very hard for me to do. The Shaman is by far the best Spyderco that I've ever handled, and this is an S30V. I would take this knife over every single one of these that you see here on the table. This is absolutely everything that I could ever need a knife to be, and then some. This will last me for the rest of my life, and I could easily pass this down in a long time. Same could be said for any of these other knives here on the table. And each one of these has a super steel, Crewwear, 20CV, M4, M390, and they're all heat treated perfectly by Spyderco. And yes, I would take this S30V Shaman over every single one of these. I was giving it some thought, and there's nothing that any one of these can do that this Shaman can't do and do it better. Now, are some of these tougher than S30? Yeah, probably so. Are some of them having better edge retention? You know, the M390, the 20CV? Yeah, a little bit. They are. The Crewwear is going to be a little tougher than the S30V. But S30V was created to be a knife steel. Spyderco has ultimately perfected the heat treat on S30V. It was their primary steel for a long time, a long, long time. And they have made it such a well-rounded steel that there's nothing else you could possibly need. All this stuff, all these other steels, K390, they're great and I love them. I love having a variety. But to be honest, they're not needed. You do not need them. Okay? I don't need them. I love having them. I love having the variety. But there is no question in my mind, being a carpenter, someone who uses my knives all the time, someone who cuts a lot of different materials whenever I want to, as much as I want to, these super steels are not needed. In its day, S30V was, you know, the top of the line. Not so much anymore, but it is still one of the best and most well-rounded steels on the market today. Might not be the toughest, might not be the most corrosion resistant, it might not have the best toughness, but in all 3 categories, it excels as a whole. Now, we could go over, or we will go over, you know, I love the Para 3. It's a great secondary knife, a great backup. I can get a full grip on it in the choked up position. It's got that nice little blade that would be able to handle most any task. And having this nice crew wear blade, it's going to be very, very tough. And it's going to do anything that you need it to do. The Paramilitary 2 and 20 CV, it's going to be a slicing master. A poking, stabbing, slicing master. There's no question about it. Ultra, ultra comfortable as well. I think the ergos from the Shaman really replicate here. I mean, very, very similar handles. And in my opinion, I believe that the Shaman is kind of a mixture of the Spyderco Manix 2 and the Paramilitary 2. That's kind of how I feel anyway. They are very, very similar, all in their design, yes. Even the Manix 2 handle is very reminiscent of the Shaman. Looking at them on the table here, the Manix 2 is very, very similar. But there is something about the Shaman, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but and the Manix 2 is a dream in hand. All this jimping, and it's very well done. I love the Manix 2, especially the G10 version. I've had the lightweight version. Not the biggest fan of the plastic scales. This one I've kind of given a pass because of the K390, and it's very comfortable. And being a backlock, it's not meant to be fidgety, but it is ultra smooth on the slow roll, and it can be flicked out if if that's something you want to do. I'm just not the biggest fan of the plastic. Now, the G10, I think, is exceptionally well done all the way around on Spyderco's. That's why you don't see a bunch of aftermarket handles on my Spyderco's, because I really love the smooth stuff that they do, and I like the textured G10 as well. But I have fallen in love with the Shaman. It is my number one. It is my go-to. Now, it has actually revived my Spyderco love. I actually have a Wharncliffe Paramilitary 2 on the way to join this one and my Tanto. The Tanto is not being pictured because, it's a Paramilitary 2 just with the Tanto blade shape. That one is an S30V. And I love each one of these for a different reason. This is a great secondary. The smock is fidgety. It has that beautiful Wharncliffe sheep's foot style blade, nice and long. It's got a lot of reach to it. It's very comfortable in hand. That's one thing Spyderco nails is their ergonomics and their heat treat. This is something I would get out if I have a ton of slicing to do and I don't want to get out the Indela, And the Manix 2 is just a great, well-rounded knife. This is probably some semblance of the order that I would probably put these knives in right about here. Probably here, actually. Probably 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, something of that nature. Now, if I get this changed out, this might move up a spot. The Paramilitary 2 it's lightweight, ergonomic as hell, slicey. I love the Paramilitary 2, and that was my favorite Spyderco until I got this guy. The Shaman, I see why now so many people rave about the Shaman. And some people, the Shaman is not their favorite. They have had it and it's not their favorite. They like the Smock or they like the Manix or the Paramilitary 2. That's completely fine. But I'm here today to tell you that I have experience with quite a few different Spydercos and a lot of different steels and versions of them Spydercos. And I will take the base Shaman over every single one of them in this exact configuration. I do have a pocket clip on the way for this guy from Lynch Northwest. It's going to be all black, so you really won't notice much other than it being a deep carry titanium clip. That's really the only difference. But the Shaman, guys, if you're into Spydercos or you're just getting into Spydercos, I highly recommend, if you like a little bigger of a knife, you got a little bit bigger hands, and it is compliant in your state, you know, as far as blade length, I highly recommend picking up a Shaman and checking it out. If you don't end up liking it, you can easily sell it. But I believe that you will ultimately love the Shaman. I will probably look for another version of the Shaman to pick up as well. This one will never go anywhere. This one will not get carried in nasty environments either. This is going to be kind of my nicey nice Spyderco. I will still carry it, still use it, of course, but I'm not going to jeopardize this getting messed up in any way. It is one of the greatest gifts I have ever received, one of the most thoughtful gifts that I have ever received, and I'm still kind of at a loss for words for getting this knife here. There's still some good people left on the earth. Not many, but there are still some good people out there. And the knife community has quite a few of them people in it. But this video is basically just to talk about some Spydercos, go over some Spydercos, and talk about my all-time favorite Spyderco now at this point. There was no reason to really make a video before getting this because the Para 2, Paramilitary 2, and Para 3 were kind of my 1-2 punch. And then the Smock and Mannix, you know, I would carry them occasionally, you know. But the Shaman has basically restored my Spyderco love. And ultimately, I started looking for Wharncliffe and picked up the Wharncliffe in XHP. It's coated, so that way it'll go with, you know, my other two Paramilitary 2s. It'll go with my Para 3. They're all coated. It'll go with the Shaman, of course. That one's coated. I like the coating that Spyderco does. I also like their satin blades as well, but there's something about the coating they do that I really love. But that'll wrap it up, guys. If you want to check out the unboxing for the Shaman, I highly recommend it. It's an awesome video. It's an awesome, unaware gift that I was receiving at the time. Something I had to stop the video a couple times to kind of collect myself a little bit and my thoughts. I'll link that video up at the top. If you want to check out some other videos, I have a ton on my channel. The one here on your left is definitely one you should check out. And this video here, it's a newer video. Highly recommend checking that one out. If you're here and you're not subscribed, click the GBall Vision logo there in the center of your screen. I would love to have you here. Give the video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite Spyderco? Do you disagree wholeheartedly with me? Or do you definitely fall on the side of a Shaman being your favorite Spyderco? Let me know down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. Otherwise, I will catch you guys on the next one.